For those of you who do not, you're about to find out. He is the group CEO for Comic Republic Global Network and CR Motion Plus. Can you put your hands together with me for Jide Martins? Please put your hands together for Jide Martins. Jide Martins.
Hi guys, how are you? Alright, so following up, I was really excited about the previous speakers, right? Because they touched on what I'm about to focus on, which is how to build an IP, right? A lot of us are focused on our products, and we also want to monetize those products. But the problem is that as creatives, we're too passionate about what we're building, and we don't create all of the ecosystem around what it is that we're building. And that's what I have been able to do with Comic Pub. Comic Pub started as an IP content creative company where we focus on character entertainment, meaning comics and superheroes. But right now, we're the largest comic publisher in Africa. We also have a gaming and animation studio called Sierra Motion Plus. But for me, before I get to where we are today, I think it's important that I tell a little story about how we got to where we are, right? So, like I said, Comic Republic does comic books presently. But we really started as four guys drawing on a table. Next slide. Next slide. This is me 13 years ago. And I think it's very important for everyone to see how it started. This was me with four guys on my dining table, and we decided to take on this endeavor where we said we were going to start drawing comics in a country where people were not interested in comics, right? And that was the beginning of our IP journey. We were drawing on our table every single day. And then I made the decision that, you know what, we're not going to publish our comics, we're going to take it online and make it digital. Simply because Nigeria had a distribution problem. And so we decided that we're going to just provide it in a medium that everybody could find quickly. And so we started posting on Facebook. And we started with just four of us and one lady, right? Working from my dining table. Next slide. What happened was, Man of Steel was about to come out at Silverbird Cinemas. Anybody still remember the days of Silverbird Cinemas? Right? And we put our comic books at the back of the movie flyers at that point in time, as Man of Steel movie was about to come out. And when it came out, people read our comics. I remember taking 200,000 naira because we had to pay 50,000 naira per page to put our comic books behind it. And when we published the books, we were surprised. People started reading our books, started sending us fan mails, and then we got our first ad. First Bank approached us and said they wanted to put our ad behind our comic books. And at that point in time, First Bank paid us 800,000 naira for advert placements in our comic books that we were putting at the back of Silverbird flyers. And it cost us 200,000 naira to put our comic books. This was in 2013. At that point in time, I'm sure you can figure out what 800,000 naira was like at that point in time. And the difference was four guys on a dining table was just the initiative to figure out how do we put our comic books in front of people. And so we put our money together. We went to pay for an art space and then put our comic books there. Immediately after that, we said, okay, you know what? Let us go and register our company. So we registered our company and we started posting our comic books on Instagram. Not too long after that, an exercise book company called Aviva reached out to us and said, hey guys, we like your superheroes, we want to put your superheroes at the back of the exercise books. And for putting our superheroes on the back of the exercise book, we were able to move their sales from 15 million exercise books to 45 million exercise books worldwide. And after that, they came and they said they wanted to invest in us. Now, we were investment ready, and I'll go back to that. And I'll explain what it means to be investment ready. Again, the reason why I'm saying this is, as game developers, you need to focus on how to build an ecosystem around your product, and not just the product itself, right? You need to be investment ready. When Aviva came, we were investment ready, and then they were able to invest in our business. We now started a heavy marketing endeavor. We started going to universities, we started holding conventions, inviting more people to come and read our comic books. And that's how Comic Republic started getting bigger. From there, we started getting our next investor, and then our next investor, and our next investor. We registered the company, opened our website, and then we started publishing comics. Next slide. We started doing training sessions, we started going to schools. Again, marketing, very, very key. A lot of us think all we need to do is get money, invest, put our comics, put our games on a platform, and hopefully somebody will like it. No, you need to invest in outreach, go to schools, events like this. And when I say invest, you need to, whenever you're trying to monetize or wherever you're trying to develop your property, you need to figure out who you should be talking to help you get money for marketing in particular, and to do marketing events. Next slide. Next slide. The very next thing was we started getting carried by news agencies. Now, most people would think, oh, they found us. No, what happened was we started checking online, and we found out that there were certain news agencies that help you put your stories in international newspapers. And so we invited them, and then we paid them to do an article on our story. The trick was we searched for them. The moment we found them, we told them to do an article about us. Once they wrote that article, one newspaper, different companies around the world started coming to us. We've been on CNN, Al Jazeera, CNN African Voices. I can go on. If you just Google Comic Republic, you will see that we've been on every major news agency around the world talking about the awesome thing that we do. Next slide. Again, the different people that have spoken about us and what we do. Next slide. These are all of the news agencies that have told our story. I need to take you back to when it was just 4 guys on the dining table. It is important for us as creatives, especially those of us in the gaming industry, to understand that we should not just be waiting for people to come and give us money, but we also need to create, again, I repeat, an ecosystem. We need to step by step develop our IP so that people will be interested in it and monetize. But I'm going somewhere. Next slide. This is us now. Do you guys remember 4 of us on the dining table? Presently, I have a team of 130 people all together in different parts of the world, and we not only do comics, we now do comics, animation, and games. So this is where we are now. Next slide. Next slide. We recently closed a $4 million deal with Universal Studios to develop 50 of our characters into live action movies. Now, what is important about this deal? Not only is it the first time an IB creative company from Nigeria is closing this kind of deal, is that A is for only an aspect of our IP, audio visuals, TV and film. that gives us the right to still create comic books and games from our animation, right? Also, there's no other company from Africa that has closed a $4 million deal with an international company where, wait for it, we still own rights to our IP. Meaning we can go out and keep making other products from the very same IP. The only thing we cannot do is make characters that look like the actors, and we can't do TV and film. But in any other aspect, again, I need to bring us back to the four guys on the table, right? And the secret is build an ecosystem around your IP, and I'll take you step by step on how to do that. Next slide. Next slide. So these are some of our superheroes. We have a game demo that shows you some of the games that we're developing as Sierra Motion Plus, which is our gaming and animation arm. Also, we are also partnering with a number of gaming studios in developing games with them. One of the companies that we're partnering with, I'm really excited to talk about is Juju Games. They are the head of the company is our creative director. So, and guys from Juju Games, can you guys come up? Now, can you guys play the game demo? You guys have the game demo already? So, okay, so the two games that we showed you there, we showed you Hero Generation, which are IPs from our comic books, which is a combat game where the characters are fighting along the streets of Lagos, trying to save Lagos. We're developing it in conjunction with Juju Games. And then the second game is Voodoo, right? Do you want to talk a bit about both games? Yeah? Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jide Martins, creative director, public and also founder of Jide Games. The two projects we're working on, Hero Generation and Hero Generation is a 2.5D beat 'em up brawler meant for mobile and it features characters created by Comic Public and also myself, as well as I think some secret characters that are coming up here. It's a very, very interesting concept that I love. We're very full out of becoming a aesthetic. With regards to Voodoo is an Afrofuturistic space opera. I think Star Wars, New from Mandalorian, and then Black Panther, and then you have a show. Largely based on also that women folklore and mythology. Something that's very interesting that we haven't seen in modern media, the whole thing with the women folklore. And I really love the concept of video and new generation, and we're going all out with the common aesthetic on both of them, as you can see. I think that's pretty much all I can say on the show.
So to be one of the four people who saw that dining table when we started drawing comics 13 years ago, right now, not only is he our creative director, he's CEO of Voodoo Games, winning numerous awards and also getting sponsorship from around the world financing on his game. So again, the journey started with us, again, four guys on the table developing our IP and then trying to tell stories around it. We've been doing it for 13 years. And could we come back to the slide? And now I'll tell you, I will run you through all of the things that are necessary to create an ecosystem around your IP in order for you to get to the point where you can effectively monetize your IP, right? Is anyone interested? Right? Okay, awesome. So the very first thing is to create valuable assets. What does that mean? Right? It means don't just create assets that people want. Right? Create assets that people are interested in. And I couldn't have said it better than the guys who were on stage where they were talking about how you once you tell a story around an asset and people are interested in that asset, then they would want to pay for it. Are you with me? So don't just create something and say, okay, people should buy it because it is good. The question is, what is the value that they are getting from that asset? If you can solve that problem, people will want to pay for it. So usually you could create an emotional value for that asset. You need to make people emotionally connected to it. The fact that it is just cool is not enough. Find a way, usually through content, storytelling, which we have done for the past 13 years in telling our comic books. We have over 2.5 million viewers hitting our platforms now. So the moment we release content, people are interested in it. It's the only reason why a studio like Universal, amongst other corporations who want to invest, we've had shareholders, right? I have a board with Comic Republic and I've been able to put investment with shareholders. So create valuable assets. Now, not only is your IP itself valuable, you also need to, within that IP, create products from it. What can you do with the skills you've learned in creating that IP as a service to people who are willing to pay? Does that make any sense? Are you guys still following me? Right? So you've learned how to do graphics, programming, and different aspects. What can you incorporate in your assets that will make people want to pay for it? E.g., advert placement, assets that people want to buy. You need to start thinking how you can provide value with the assets that you're creating. So, right? The very first next thing is to protect your assets. I'm wondering how many people here have trademarked their assets? How many people have officially registered their assets legally? How many people in the creative ecosystem have a legal framework? How many people have registered their business name? How many people have trademarked their business name? Right? Because we want people to pay for it. There's no point developing a game or an asset that somebody can come and take from you. If you haven't trademarked that asset, if you haven't registered it, if you don't have a business name that is legal, there's this strong possibility that that asset could be stolen from you. Right? And then the other question is, you're trying to get investors to come and pay for your assets. You're trying to get people to buy your assets, right? What exactly are they paying for? Right? Are they paying for an idea or are they paying for an entity? Does that make sense? Right? So start immediately as you're building now, you need to start thinking, how do I register? How do I trademark? And the official bodies, you just click online, trademarking my asset, copyrighting my assets, creating a legal entity. You can even just register a business name where you put your assets under. Does that make sense? So as you're creating the assets, you immediately say, okay, how do I make it transferable? So when I say how do I make it transferable, when you create those assets, you need to make the rights to those assets transferable. The only way to transfer the rights to those assets is for you to own the rights to those assets. To find the legal means in which you can do that. Is everyone still following? I hope I'm not boring you yet. Should I go on? Alright, awesome. The very next thing is to build capacity. Right? So what do I mean by build capacity? In your production pipeline, how much of it can you create or own yourself? Am I making sense? Right? So a lot of people say that they are creating a game, but they can only code. And so you have to pay somebody else to do the math. You have to pay somebody else to market. How much of it can you do yourself? Right? So as much as possible, in your production pipeline, figure out how you can escalate your production pipeline. Can you do the same things for another person? Do you have a pipeline where, okay, I have 4 people or 3 people that are my friends, I'm paying them so that when another client comes, I can immediately replicate what I'm doing in that particular IP. Are you guys following? Right? How can you recreate that IP 3-4 times? You need to be thinking, what process am I putting in place to be able to recreate what I'm doing now again? Are you guys with me? If you spend 4 months building your game or your IP, if somebody suddenly comes and deletes your game, how quickly can you create it again? If that computer should crash, how quickly can you create it again? Where are you saving your assets? Are you saving your assets online? Right? If you don't have a virtual space right now or the cloud where you're saving your assets, you're wasting your time. Right? Because anything can happen to physical assets. Are you with me? How well are you versed with the process itself? So build capacity. Because at the end of the day, people come and pay for capacity. Ideas are dying with us. People can replicate what you're doing. Your ability to recreate it or the knowledge of recreating it is very key. Another thing is, are you documenting your process? Are you guys with me? Are you documenting your process? Can you automate your process? Do you know what I mean by can you automate your process? Right? Can your process run without you if you fall sick for 1 week? Right? Do you have backups for the backups? Is there any other person that can do what you're doing? Do you have an intern or somebody watching what you're doing? Do you have a friend? Right? Are you training somebody else? Because a lot of us feel, oh, as a creative, I need to protect my IP. Right? It needs to go bigger than you. The reason why is A, when you monetize it, you cannot start telling stories. I'm just being as plain as possible, right? So it is very, very key that you automate your process, right? Build global standards. We're all waiting for God when, right? You're hoping that one big company is just going to see your work and they're going to like it. My question is, do you think your work can represent that brand? Does that make sense? Right? So if Netflix comes today, or if who will I use? If Apple comes today and says, okay, I want to pay for your game, as you're looking at your IP and reading about it, do you think it fits into the Apple store? Does that make sense? Right? So you need to make sure you are mimicking and you are imitating international standards. Now, international standard doesn't mean foreign standard. That's a mistake we make. International standard means, is this the best of the best? Are you working at triple A? Or at the very least, are you building for triple A? Does that make sense? Right? Because the people who can give you the money you're looking for can pay for anything or can pay for what you have in different places. So they are not going to hear, I've put so much effort into it, I believe that I've done a lot of hard work. No, the quality of your work will determine how interested they are in it, right? So quickly identify the quality that you're going for. Don't take it easy on yourself, build international standards and go for it. Be visible. If you're not marketing every single day, you're not serious. Right? How many of you are on LinkedIn? How many of you are on Instagram? How many of you are on YouTube? How many of you are on all of them together? Right? How many of you post once a day? The product you're building is not as important as you being visible. Can I take that again? The product you're building is not as important as you being visible. So it is very, very key that you put, if you take out 1 hour every morning, or at least 2 hours every day to say, you know what, I'm going to put whatever stage you're in, whatever it is you do, I'm going to put it out there because that person that's going to invest in your business needs to see it somewhere, right? Don't be bothered about, okay, I only have 1 view, 2 views. You need to constantly market. Very key. Right? Then, very important is being investment ready. Does anybody understand what a financial model is? Okay. You know what a financial model is? Right? Okay. You need to make sure that you're documenting everything it costs to create that gain. Every single time you buy fuel, every time somebody gets to give you money, it is somewhere where it's traceable and you can account for it. Right? If you don't know how to do it, these days, the school of YouTube is your teacher, right? Start finding out how to effectively document your finances, your inflows and outflows. Every single thing you have spent based on that. Very important. Register a name, open an account that is separate for yours, right? Make sure that all of the expenditure that you are making based on your IP is coming from that account. This is the reason why. At some point of your building your IP, if you're serious, you're going to need investment. Do you understand? Right? And the people who invest in your IP need financial records. You guys are at the point where you really want to scale, you're going to come back and remember what I've said. And financial records start from expenditure 10 naira to expenditure 1 million. Does that make sense? Right? So ensure that you are investment ready. Have a financial model. That's it. Right? Get representation. Okay. Very key. We are so focused on what we're creating. We don't think we need to work with people like agents, people who are good with social media, right? Start checking online for agents that you think you can work with. It's very possible, right? Start looking for your friends who are good in marketing, right? It is key that you have representation because you need to focus on your product. You need to find people, friends, family, official agencies, and you can find people you might need to pay, people you might need to beg, people you might need to speak to, who will represent you while you're developing or building your IP. Right? Also, legal representation, very key. I guys agree, right? So that, because if they know, you need somebody who knows how to create a proposal, who knows how to write up a document, who knows how to write up a marketing document and who knows where to send it to, right? Start with your friends who are good at selling stuff, and then constant every time you're out, every day you're like searching, okay, what are the major agencies and go and pitch them to represent you. Usually, whenever you're doing agency, you're thinking, okay, I need to pay. Sometimes you might just give a percentage of your IP. Do you remember when I said have the rights for it? When you register your IP, you can break it into percentages, right? So you can say, you know what, I'll give you 2% if you represent me, right? Let's develop it as a business. I need you to write a marketing proposal. I need you to do this and then that way. Okay, are you good at selling? Can you take it out? Do you work in this place? I need to network with you. There are a lot of networking organizations. I met a young man here today who told me, oh, he does networking. Do all of those networking and you find people who are ready to work with you and represent your IP, right? So that you can get investment in because you can't do it alone. Then, pitch. Do not take events like this for granted. Spend your weekends usually. You should be looking at, okay, where can I go and sell what I'm doing, right? If you remember what I said, you've got somebody who can create a pitch deck for you, or you've taken your time to learn how to create a pitch deck, right? You now need to also constantly look for where to pitch. That friend in the bank, that uncle, that auntie, that's somebody that is working in the company that you know. Check online. There are loads of people who are giving out grants, financial grants, right? So we and his team recently just went to Germany. It was for pitching. They paid for their flights, hotel, everything. I think they were there for a month, right? It was for pitching. Do you understand what I'm saying? So once you've created that marketing document that I've asked you to create before, constantly look for where you're going to pitch it. Go out. You can say, okay, you know what, every Wednesday, every Saturday, I'm going to pitch. Right? Retain your rights. Very important. A lot of you, somebody comes and say, I have this idea, I want to buy it. The first thing you're doing is you're saying, come and take everything. You've not gotten a lawyer, you don't know the value of your rights. The only thing that will be more valuable than the IP itself is the rights you have on it. Do not ever see, whenever you're reading a document and they say assign, do you know what that means? Do you know what assign means? Assign means you're handing over everything to people. Always enter a deal with your IP that gives you some of the rights. Are you guys with me? Right? The moment you give out more than 51% of your rights, it does not belong to you anymore. Are you guys with me? And you can give out 2%, 3%, you can even give out 0.5% of your rights. This is why you need legal representation. Are you with me? So if anybody brings a contract to you, don't just sign it because you're thinking about the money. Whatever it is they are paying you is probably 3 times what more, right? License. The word is license. License your IP for a particular time, right? So you can license for a week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 years. Make sure that you still hold the majority and the contract. Are you guys with me? Right? Retain your rights. Do not assign. Then rinse, repeat, and grow. The biggest thing that you can do wrong is not to be consistent. We know what the economy is saying. It took us about, we were in business for 6 to 8, no, we were in business for about 7 years before we closed our deal with Universal. We were in business for about 3 years before we got our first advertising deal. Right now we work with people like Meta, Samsung. We just finished a project for Wema Bank. We're doing something else with Stanbic and ETC. We're working on we're working with multi-choice on an animated series. We're developing our games. We're 13 years old. Are you guys with me? Right? Be consistent. You need to go through that period of growing. But most importantly, once you've created a process, remember what I said, automate, keep repeating. You need to try something for 6 months, 2 years before you know it doesn't work. Don't just give up at the first, I don't have money, or the first attempt. Are you guys with me? While simultaneously looking for how to increase or innovate on your product. So have one thing that you're repeating consistently that is your focus, and then also have constantly think, okay, how can I make this better? Because anything that you don't work long enough for, hard enough for, does not materialize to enough value for people to pay for, right? I think I'll stop here because I told that my time is up. You guys have questions? Quick input. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. That was such a session. I don't know why everybody's looking at me like they didn't expect me to come. So, oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Thank you very much.
I also started using Unreal Engine to give environment. I want to know what the networking process is like in terms of being able to come into organizations, top level organizations that can take your brand to the next level. Because like you said, I'm good at my job is networking. But for example, you met this person today, but I haven't met this person. I know a few other people here would love to meet this person, but I haven't met the person.
I didn't hear the last part.
I mean, you met this person, but I haven't met the person. And other people here would love to meet that person, but I haven't met the person. So, what do you say is the best way to go about finding these people that operate in niche pockets of positions that have specialties in this aspect of networking, especially because networking is very, very important in taking your brand to the next level. So, is it a matter of meeting you out after the show to introduce us to the person? For example, for somebody that is not here now to meet you to introduce us to that person, is there like a LinkedIn, especially for those kind of people, or a database that you can find those kind of people to be able to get them to, do the networking?
Yeah. So, like you said, so if you're into gaming and the fire sector, which is gaming right now, right? You should be following gaming pages, starting with Nigerian gaming pages, Game for Lagos Game Week. I can name a few. Do you understand? You need to follow them, find out people behind those pages, write, DM them, send them an email, follow them on LinkedIn, send them a message. If you keep it, somebody's going to answer, right? Do you understand? And then also, whenever you get an event, make it a point of duty to attend. You know how we're excited about attending, watching a movie, or attending a party. Feel like, there's a gaming or networking event. If you even hear there's a financial pitch event, right? And there are a lot of them online where you say, okay, people come and get investment. Don't go, oh, it's for IT, it's for this, no, attend, right? And then have your pitch ready. It's very important. One of the things we do is we constantly create pitch decks, right? Just ready, right? And then when I go to an event, right? For example, we got like a 500,000 naira grant not too long ago. Not $500,000, sorry, grant not too long ago, right? And it was supposed to be for banks, but we went there with our deck, we pitched and they liked it. Does that make sense? Right? So things like that. You need to be interested in that space and then you need to search and then you need to write. Don't be shy. What's the worst that can happen? They'll say, no, I'm not interested. You don't lose one naira, right? Your hair does not fall off like my hair. Or, do you understand? You get into those rooms. Any other question?
All right, thank you very much. First, I want to appreciate the organizers of such a wonderful forum like this. And I want to appreciate you for your talk so far. In fact, they were timely. I've learned a lot. I want to put out the question. As an expert in this business for a long time now, I understand consistency is a must, like you stated before, but what would you advise someone like us that is still coming up? Like, can we also try other things as we focus on a particular one to see which one can be the first to bring us out? I don't know, your advice to that.
Oh yeah, yeah. The story I like telling my team, right? And I'll tell you now. When I started, are you me? Right? I was doing fashion, events, and comics at the same time. Are you guys with me? Right? And I was learning how to code at the same time. Right? And so I was like doing my fashion. I would go to a Day. I will get tailors to make the clothes. I'll put it in a nylon bag. I'll go and sit down in a restaurant. And I'll see anybody that is well dressed. And I'll go to them. I'll do that from 8 to 12. Are you me? And then I'll go to, I don't want to name the company right now, go and learn how to code, right? And then I'll come back and then I'll start drawing for Comic Republic, the business that has now, right? You cannot, if one thing is not paying the bill, you have to find a way to monetize, right? And you have to put the time in, right? Saying consistent doesn't mean doing one thing. It means doing something repeatedly, right? You need to create the time to do that thing repeatedly, whether it is working or not, right? I can promise you consistency will beat efficiency. I can tell you from experience, right? If you do something long enough and you market it, so again, it's not just doing it, right? While you're doing other things, because again, when I say be, you need to find a way to pay the bills. So do that other thing, but don't stop the other thing. What it will cost you is time. Invest the time. I don't know if that answers your question. Right.
Like there are secrets to certain things that you wouldn't tell us now, but probably you might just be benevolent enough to just give at least this one to us. I understand in this business you have to be more careful when you're signing deals. So what are the things you would advise us to critically look out for when signing deals of any sort? Because there are certain things we need to look out for. And what would you advise us to do in situations like that? So we don't fall into.
So, thank you very much, right? That's a very good question. There are certain things you can't know simply because you're not an expert in that field. Are you me? Very, very key, get representation. Are you me? Very, very key, get representation. Get a lawyer that you trust. I can't explain it more. A lot of people are like, and getting it, there are lawyers who are willing to work for percentages. There are lawyers who are willing to not charge you too much. Take your time, it's very, very key. If not, you sell away one more than paying a lawyer. I need to get representation. If I try to tell you, look out for this, look out for this, look out for this, they will confuse you with words. You understand? And hidden terms. Get representation. And think about it this way, it is better for you to have Jeff Bezos owns 60% of his company and he's the richest person in the world. Are you with me? The CEO of Microsoft, I think he owns less than 5 or 10% of his company, right? If you need to give out pieces of your IP, so meet people and say, okay, you know what, my IP is worth 100%, I'll give you 5%, I need you to represent me. What does that mean? Anytime I make money, I'll pay you 5% of it. This deal I'm about to go into, if it works, I'll give you 2% of it. Don't try and figure it out yourself. Get representation. Get representation at all levels, right? If you can get somebody who will be an agent, look for somebody and their agents, check for them online who represent talents. And say, you know what, I don't have money, but I can give you a piece of this IP if it works. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's the very first thing. The other thing is, there's AI these days. Are you with me? Run the document through AI and ask AI to spot out the issues that you might not be seeing. Are you with me? Or even when it spots it out, then hand it over to your lawyer. But don't ever sign a contract, I need to re-emphasize, without legal representation. Yeah? Any question?
Together for Jide Martins. All right. Now the moment.